Now let's create the pants. First of all, I'm going to create the belt, so I'll take my rectangular pattern tool and I'm going to make the width 775 and the height 30. Then I'm going to split it through the middle by 50%, then add another point at 180, and from this side same distance, 180. And then add a point close to the edge at 25, and on this side as well. Now I want this belt to overlap in the front, so I'm going to arrange it by the back arrangement point. And then to make it overlap, I'm going to take an internal line, holding down Shift, double click and make a line there at that point that I set. I'm going to copy that and paste it over here. And then I want this side to overlap over the other one. So I'm going to segment sew this part onto this internal line, and I'm also going to segment sew this part onto this line, like that. And then it crosses over nicely. I'll also apply the belt fabric, which is just a grey color, with my belt preset. I'll give it a bit of thickness, maybe 2. Yeah, that should work. And now for the trousers. I'm going to take my rectangular pattern tool, make the width 220 and the height 1000. And this totally depends on the kind of pants that you want to make. I've seen pants that are very tight, and also pants which are extremely loose. So it depends on your design. Make it wider, make it tighter to fit your design. And then something around here, I'm going to add a point. Let's put it at 165 or 160, and then add another point 40 down. And then this point I'm going to drag outwards, curve it, and then take this point here in a bit more, because I want the bottom to be a bit tight, not too tight, but a bit, maybe 10 out. Something like that. Then I'll select it, copy, and symmetric paste it. Then I'll select both pant legs, copy, and paste it for the back. We have to do some changes here. The back needs more fabric to go around to meet the front part. So I'm going to drag this out a bit more and curve it. Something like that probably. Flip horizontally. Segment sew, no, not to there. Segment sew this to here, this to here, this to here, and these parts together. And then I want to sew this part to here, and then this one to here, this one to here, and this to here. And here I'm going to go in to this one here. Because the belt is overlapping like that, I want to drag this out to the end. And before we simulate, I'm going to apply the pants fabric onto the pants. Let's reset these two. And there we go. I think it may be a bit too tall, so for that I'm going to select these. Okay, I'm going to select these top lines here, hold down Shift, and take it down by 30. And that's probably a better height. Now the pants are a bit too short, so I'm going to select these bottom lines, hold down Shift and take them down. Alright, something like that. Now we can see here there are some lumps on this side, and that's because this side here is not sewing to the very end. And the reason for that is because if it does sew to the end, which is going beneath this part that's crossing over, you can see that the pants are no longer straight, but they're starting to get crooked. So we can't sew to the part that's underneath this part here. We have to leave that part without sewing. But to compensate, because this is shorter now than this side, you can see there's a bigger difference. We have to take it out by the length here that we're missing, which is 25. So holding down Shift, going to take it out by 25. And then there aren't any lumps there. Now we can see his body, and we don't want to see his body, so let's make something the width of 50, height of 130, which is this height here. And maybe we can make it a bit narrower, not 50, but say 40. And apply the pants fabric onto it. Right click, superimpose under. And if it doesn't quite go underneath, we can always drag the other pants leg over it. And now we don't see his body. Now I'd like there to be fly here. So I'm going to take my internal line tool and make a fly. Right click on this point, convert to curve point. And then add another point here and take that in a bit. Then I'm going to take my rectangular pattern tool and make a shape there, convert to curve point, and make it that it fits like that. We can see it's sort of not reaching the end because of the particle distance being too high, so let's put that down to 5 and apply the pants fabric onto it. Now I'm going to segment sew that onto there and then free sew it onto the pants. Missing a tiny bit here, so let's extend that to the end. And also make sure that this isn't sticking out. Alright, there we go. And then we can select it, superimpose over, and then to keep it from opening up like this, I'm going to take my internal line tool, holding down Shift, double click, then copy that line and paste it onto here, segment sew them together. Hide this fly for the meantime. And I think that line here needs to be moved more to the left. And maybe this a bit more to the right. Alright, there we go. Now let's make the ironing line on the trousers. So I'm going to take my internal line tool again, holding down Shift, bring it down to here, something like that, and then I'm going to set the fold angle to 0 and let's see what happens. That's a very sharp fold, maybe let's set it more to 80 or to 100. Something like that, I think. Now for the back, I'm not quite sure if the fold actually goes up to the very top, because from the reference images that I saw, you never really saw the top of the pants. So I'm going to make the line up to here, and if you want you can extend it up higher. So I'm going to take my internal line tool, double click, draw that out a bit so it's straighter, up to around there. And then I'm going to put it to fold angle 0. And we can increase the strength a bit, I think, 10. Maybe even 20. And move that line a bit more inwards. Something like that. Now if you want more creases there, you can always make it a bit wider. You can make the front and the back wider together. Or you could just make the front wider, or just the back wider. It doesn't have to always go together. And then you'd have much looser trousers. I think I'm going to take it in a tiny bit more on the top to make it a bit tighter there. And also I'm going to turn off fold rendering on this internal shape here and this line too, so we don't see it.